mind is a battleground where the fiercest wars are fought, not against others but against ourselves. There are days when we wake up and feel the weight of the world pressing down on our chest, when every step feels like a march through fire, and when the whispers of doubt grow so loud that they drown out the voice of courage. It's in these moments, these hellish moments, that the decision is made. Do you surrender or do you fight? Because life is not about avoiding the flames, it's about learning to walk through them, head high, fists clenched, and a heart unwilling to yield. The truth is, the mind will break you long before the body does if you let it. But if you train it, if you condition it like a muscle, if you starve your excuses and feed your drive, it will become the strongest weapon you have in this battle. There is no glory without suffering, no greatness without pain. When you're grinding through the miles, when your body screams and your lungs burn, and that voice says, "Stop, it's too much," you have to find another voice, a stronger one. A voice that says, "This is the price. This is where the weak fall and the strong rise." Most people avoid the struggle, avoid the suffering, because it's hard. But if you want to master your mind, you must go where it's hard. You must choose the difficult path, because the easy road leads to nowhere. The greatest mistake is to think that comfort is the goal. Comfort is a trap. It lulls you into mediocrity. It whispers lies that you're okay where you are. But you're not. There's always another level, another standard, another hill to climb. And you won't get there unless you're willing to bleed for it. Hell is not some distant fiery pit. It's the mental grind, the self-doubt, the fear, the setbacks, the failures. It's the days when you're broken down, exhausted, beaten up by life, and you still get up, you still show up, and you still give everything you have. That's where mastery is forged. Not in comfort, not in ease, but in the trenches, in the fire, when you have nothing left but your will. It's easy to talk about greatness when things are going well, but what happens when the storm hits? When you lose, when you're rejected, when you fail? That's when the test begins. That's when you either fold or you fight. And if you fight, if you push past the pain, if you refuse to quit, you will become something that few people ever get to see. A person who has mastered the mind by walking through hell and refusing to stay there. Mastery is earned, not given. Every rep you don't want to do, every early morning you don't want to wake up for, every rejection, every setback, every lonely night when the world seems against you, that's the price you pay. And when you pay that price long enough, when you stack up the days of pain and struggle, you realize that you've built something unbreakable inside you. It's not about the medals, the praise, or the applause. It's about the quiet knowledge that you didn't give up, that you kept moving forward when it would have been easier to quit. The mind is a wild beast, but it can be tamed, it can be trained. And the way you do that is by choosing the hard path over and over again until the hard path becomes the only path. So don't wait for the storm to pass. Stand in the middle of it, face it head on and say, "Is this all you've got?" Because when you make that choice, when you decide to master the mind through hell, you'll discover a strength you never knew you had. And that strength will take you places most people will never see. The pain is temporary, but the power you build by enduring it, that's forever. The mind is a battlefield, a place where the fiercest wars are fought, not with weapons but with thoughts, doubts, and fears. Every day we wake up and enter the arena of life, and the first battle begins before we even put our feet on the ground. The alarm rings and that small voice whispers that you can stay in bed a little longer. That comfort is a reward you deserve. And there lies the trap that lures us into weakness by disguising itself as kindness. The mind is not a gentle teacher. It is a relentless taskmaster. It will test your resolve in ways that make your muscles scream and your heart race. And the question is never whether the pain will come. It will. But whether you are ready to step into the fire and embrace the discomfort that forges strength. Mastery is not given to those who avoid struggle. It is granted to those who seek it out, who run toward the challenge, and who refuse to turn away when it gets hard. In the moments when your body aches, when exhaustion whispers in your ear to stop, and when doubt clouds your vision, you stand at a crossroads. Do you listen to the easy voice that promises comfort and safety, or do you embrace the voice that demands more of you? That voice that says, keep going. One more rep. One more step. One more hour. The mind is the gatekeeper to everything you want, but it is also the wall that stands in your way. It is both the key and the lock, and the only way to unlock it is through suffering, through discomfort, through the daily choice to reject the easy path and take the hard road. It is in this choice, this battle within, that greatness is forged. The mind will test you by throwing pain, fear, and fatigue at you, and you must be willing to respond with discipline, with courage, and with an unshakable will to keep moving forward. When you stop running from the pain and face it head on, you discover something most people never see. That pain is a teacher. It strips away the illusions of weakness and reveals the raw truth of who you are. It shows you where you have been hiding, where you have been coasting, and where you have let fear dictate your life. The mind will whisper lies, telling you that you are not strong enough, that you don't have what it takes, that you will never succeed. But those lies dissolve the moment you decide to fight back, the moment you refuse to let fear have the final word. Every step you take into discomfort, every second you endure when you want to quit, is a victory over the mind's attempts to hold you back. And as you stack those victories day after day, the mind begins to shift. It learns that you are in control, that you are the master, not the slave. The mind is a battlefield because it is where the real fight happens. The external world is simply a reflection of what happens inside. If your mind is weak, your life will follow. If your mind is strong, your life will rise to meet the standard you set. But strength does not come by accident. It is built in the fires of adversity, in the moments when everything inside you screams to stop and you keep going. The mind will always push back. It will always resist, because that is its nature. It seeks safety. It seeks familiarity. It seeks comfort. But comfort is a cage, and the only way to escape is to deliberately step into the places that scare you, that challenge you, that stretch you to your limits and beyond. Hell is not a distant burning pit. It is the fire you face every day when you choose to pursue something greater than yourself. It is the long, lonely hours when no one is watching, and you keep working. It is the setbacks, the failures, the heartbreaks, the betrayals, and the moments when everything you thought you could count on falls apart. Hell is the weight of disappointment when you give everything you have and still come up short. It is the inner storm of self-doubt, the fear that maybe you're not enough, that maybe you'll never get there. And yet, hell is also the crucible where you are forged. It is the place where you strip away the excess, where you confront your limits, where you discover the depth of your character. The fire burns, yes, but it also purifies. When you walk into the flames willingly, when you face the pain instead of running from it, something incredible happens. You grow. You become stronger, not because the world becomes easier, but because you become tougher. The pain does not stop, the struggle does not vanish, but you learn to carry it. You learn that the burden is not something to avoid, but something to embrace, because it is the weight that builds your strength. Each time you choose to step into the fire, you earn the right to call yourself unbreakable. And that is what hell teaches you. It is not about avoiding the heat. It is about thriving in it. It is about standing tall when everything around you is trying to pull you down. It is about refusing to let pain define you and instead using it to refine you. The world will not hand you greatness. It will hand you obstacles. It will hand you challenges. And it will hand you pain. It is in how you respond that your life is defined. Most will retreat when the heat rises, but a few will lean in, will embrace the pain, will accept the suffering as part of the process. These are the ones who understand that mastery of the mind is earned in the fire, in the hell of effort, in the relentless pursuit of a higher standard. They know that every scar is a lesson, every setback is an opportunity, and every day is a chance to push further, harder, deeper into the places most will never go. The mind, when tamed, becomes your most powerful ally. It becomes the voice that says, I will not break, even when everything in you is screaming to give up. And in that voice, in that choice to keep moving forward. You find the freedom that few will ever taste. This is the path of the warrior, the one who walks through fire and comes out stronger on the other side. It is the path of the relentless, the driven, the unbreakable. The ones who choose this path understand that hell is not the end. It is the beginning of mastery. It is the forge in which champions are made, not because they avoid pain, but because they embrace it, they seek it, they live in it. And when the mind learns to love the fire, when it no longer fears the heat, there is a profound difference between living a life shaped by fear and living a life shaped by courage. Fear whispers in the back of the mind, telling stories of failure, rejection, and humiliation. It convinces people to stay small, to avoid risks, to hide behind the safety of what they already know. It creates a life of limitation, where potential is suffocated before it can ever take flight. And yet, courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act despite it. 2. Step forward when the voice inside screams to turn back, to push past the shaking hands, the racing heart, the doubts that swirl like a storm in the mind. Courage is the decision to embrace uncertainty, to look fear in the eye and say, "You will not define me." It is the understanding that fear is a natural part of growth, that it will always be present when you are reaching for something greater than yourself, but it does not have to control your actions. The difference between those who rise and those who remain stuck is not that one is fearless while the other is not. It is that one chooses to act in the face of fear, while the other allows it to dictate the terms of their life. Fear will never completely disappear. It is a signal, a biological mechanism designed to protect, but it can become a cage if allowed to dominate the mind. It will present 1,000 reasons why you should play it safe, stay in your comfort zone, avoid the risk, and settle for what is easy. But every single time you allow fear to dictate your choices, you reinforce the belief that you are incapable, that you are not strong enough, that the discomfort is too much to bear. The mind adapts to what you repeatedly tell it. If you give in to fear once, it becomes easier to give in again. It builds a pattern, a habit of retreat. And over time, that habit becomes the way you live, never stepping into the unknown, never pushing your limits, never discovering what you are truly capable of. The only way to break that cycle is to confront fear, to challenge it head on, to walk into the situations that make you feel most uncomfortable and prove to yourself that you can handle them. Each time you face fear, you chip away at its power, and little by little you reclaim control over your life. The moments when fear feels strongest are the very moments that hold the greatest opportunity for growth. It is no coincidence that the things you are most afraid to do are often the very things that would expand your capacity the most. The fear of public speaking, of starting a business, of ending a toxic relationship, of moving to a new place. These are not random anxieties. They are signals pointing toward the areas where growth is waiting for you. But growth is never comfortable. It requires stepping into the unknown, embracing the uncertainty, and trusting that you will figure it out as you go. Fear will scream for certainty, for guarantees, for perfect timing, but those things rarely come. What you must understand is that action creates clarity, not the other way around. You do not wait for the fear to subside before you act. You act, and in doing so, you diminish the fear. The greatest victories in life come not from waiting for the right moment, but from creating it through bold, decisive action. The mind is an incredible tool, but it must be trained, especially when it comes to fear. It must be conditioned to see fear not as a stop sign, but as a green light. To interpret the sensation of nervousness, of racing thoughts, of doubt as a sign that you are on the right path, that you are stepping into a challenge that will make you stronger. This requires a deliberate shift in perspective, a conscious decision to redefine the relationship with fear. It is not the enemy, it is the compass. When you feel it, it is pointing you toward something meaningful, something that matters. The mistake most people make is thinking they must get rid of fear in order to move forward. That is an illusion. Fear is a part of the process. The goal is not to eliminate it, but to take action anyway, to build the muscle of courage one rep at a time, to become the kind of person who feels the fear and does it anyway. Life is unpredictable. It will test you in ways you never anticipated, throwing obstacles in your path that seem insurmountable. And in those moments, your resilience will be measured not by how you perform when everything is going smoothly, but by how you respond when everything is falling apart. Resilience is not a trait you are born with. It is a skill forged in the fires of adversity. It is the ability to keep going when you have every reason to quit, to hold on to your values when the world seems to be pushing you in another direction, to maintain faith in your abilities when circumstances suggest otherwise. Resilience is built through the daily decision to rise above setbacks, to use challenges as fuel, to let every failure sharpen your focus rather than shatter your spirit. The mind naturally recoils from discomfort. It seeks safety, ease, and predictability. But resilience is born in the moments when you resist that impulse and lean into the discomfort. When you see adversity not as a curse, but as a classroom. Every setback, every disappointment, every moment of struggle is an opportunity to learn, to grow, to become stronger. And yet, so many people waste these opportunities because they are too focused on what they have lost, rather than what they can gain. They get trapped in a cycle of self-pity, blaming circumstances and waiting for someone else to rescue them. But no one is coming to save you. The path to resilience is forged by taking responsibility for your life, by recognizing that while you cannot control what happens to you, you can always control how you respond. The power to endure lies not in the absence of challenges, but in the ability to remain steady when the storm rages around you. It is in the refusal to let circumstances dictate your mood, your effort, your commitment. Resilience is the decision to keep showing up, to keep putting in the work, to keep moving forward, even when the results are not immediate, even when the reward seems distant. It is the understanding that growth is rarely linear, that there will be days when you feel like you are moving backwards, but those days do not define you. What defines you is your capacity to stay the course, to hold the line, to keep your eyes on the bigger picture even when the details seem chaotic. Resilience is not about being immune to struggle. It is about being immune to defeat. It is about recognizing that struggle is an inevitable part of life, but it does not have to break you. It can build you, shape you, strengthen you, if you choose to let it. And that choice is always yours. The easy path will always call, tempting you with comfort, with shortcuts, with excuses. But the easy path leads to a life of regret. The path of resilience demands more, but it gives more in return. It gives you the satisfaction of knowing that you are stronger than your circumstances, that you can handle what comes your way, that you have built a mind and a spirit that are unbreakable. The world will test you. It will push you to the edge. It will challenge your patience, your faith, your willpower. And in those moments, the only thing that matters is whether you choose to keep going, whether you choose to let the setback stop you or to use it as fuel, whether you choose to retreat into fear or to rise in courage. That is the decision that shapes your life, not once, but every single day.